Good morning, people. Did you know that the butterfly goes through 4 different stages in life? These stages all help transform its forms, its capabilities, as well as its appearance into something that is not just only beautiful, but also powerful enough to take flight. They are first laid as eggs, then hatched into larvae. This is the eating stage, and the stage where it turns into a caterpillar. From there, it goes into the pupa stage to where it cocoons itself inside of a chrysalis. Inside of this chrysalis is a remarkable transformation taking place. A transformation so profound that once it breaks free from its cocoon, the world finally sees the real beauty in its journey. How many of you are still where you were 5 years ago? What's stopping your growth? That job that you hate? That relationship that you're still in that's not working for you? Or maybe it's those friends that doubt your ideas. Well, listen up, people. We are not meant to remain the same. The butterfly process is the same process we all must take in order to come out magnificent. Things will only stay as they are unless you welcome change in your life and go through all of those stages that will require you to feed yourself the right stuff and shed the wrong ones. Allow yourself the opportunity to evolve, people, so one day you will truly be able to spread those wings of yours.
First Cup KC, unique, hustle hard music. Yeah, First Cup KC, start your day off with a cup of Joe and positive convo. First Cup KC, shine a light on the ones that work hard from Kansas to the Mo. First Cup KC, motivate, educate, inspire the youth to be great. First Cup KC, believe in yourself is the key to make a change. It's never too late. First Cup KC. This broadcast is a No Solutions podcast production. Yeah.
Today on the show, I have a very, 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 very special guest. She goes by the name of Andrea Luzon, Kansas City's favorite life coach. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Chuck. Thank you for having me.
Yes, it's about time, isn't it?
I know. Postpone. Life.
Life. Well, before we get started, the first thing I want to do is I want to give you a little opportunity to tell the audience and the listeners a little bit about who Andrea Luzon is.
Ooh. Hello, everyone. Andrea Luzon. In my 20s, I was super fun. In my 30s, I bought a house, I met a man, I got married, I got a serious corporate job, and all of my stories from my childhood, anything around unworthiness or undeserving or not being enough, all of that came tumbling back into my life. And all through my 30s, I just made choices that were about what everybody else wanted. And that came to a crashing halt right before age 40. I know I barely look 40, but so that was this major, coming to my knees moment. Really, really tough time. I called a friend and just said, I can't get up off the floor. I've been crying for days. I can't go to work. I can tell my husband is panicking. I'm not showing up for my kids. What is going on? And she said she had known me in my 20s when I was wild and free and blissful and following my joy. And she said, Andrea, I've been watching you for years, choose everyone else but you. And I think it's time for you to get really serious. And there's a course that's in California, and you'd have to go for an entire year. You'd have to be flying for a long weekend once a month, and you're going to study spiritual psychology. And she said, it is what changed my life around. And she's a big deal. I really admire her work. So I did that. I studied. I convinced my husband that this was a good idea. I enrolled in this school at the University of Santa Monica in California, flew out there for a year. It was amazing. I got certified. That led me to getting certified to study energy healing, a modality called reconnective healing. A lot of people have heard of Reiki or Qigong. There are others, Joe Ray, so many. So that was such a huge journey and such a big identity shift. But then shortly after that, I started studying transformational leadership, how to be in your leadership, but coming from a place of like your heart instead of coming from protecting your wounds, you know, those defense mechanisms that a lot of us had. I've explored some shadow work, and then all of that culmination has led me to now be an empowerment coach. I've combined the energy healing with the transformational leadership, the spiritual psychology, all of that deep dive excavation that I've explored, I have compiled to now serve others. And that's brought me here to you, to this microphone.
Bingo.
Right now.
And I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
Seems like you've definitely went from one small dark spot to the light. And now you're shining.
Thank you.
Yeah, you are. You are.
Thank you.
Before we go any further, the rapid fire questions. So, first question, birthday.
November 27th, the same day as Bruce Lee and Jimi Hendrix.
Favorite holiday.
Halloween.
Ooh. First person you tell when you receive good news.
Whoever is in closest proximity to me. Grocery store, husband, parent, whatever, whoever.
Ooh, I just
want to tell somebody.
Small or big family?
Small family.
What's your favorite family tradition?
Pizza night Fridays, where everyone rolls out dough and then does their own toppings. And
Really?
we bake it ourselves.
That sounds interesting.
It's fun.
Whose opinion do you value most on this earth?
Mine.
I like that answer. First person to answer that so far. Favorite book?
Journey of a Soul by John Roger.
Why?
I like the perspectives on life and death and karma.
What was the name of that book again?
Journey of a Soul by John Roger. Very skinny book. Read it.
What's your dream job?
My dream job is the job I'm doing. Absolutely.
That's a great answer. Qualities you look for in a person?
Ooh, curiosity, truthfulness, and spontaneity and adventure.
And your favorite quote?
The cave you most fear holds the treasure you seek. That's Joseph Campbell.
Pretty nice. I like that one. The cave you most fear is the treasure. Holds the treasure
you seek.
You seek. So basically, step over that fear and find out what you've been waiting on.
Absolutely.
So if you could be remembered for one thing, what would that thing be?
I would like to be remembered for the person who helped people turn their light back on. My middle name that I like to go by in my profession, Luzon. Luzon means big light. Luz is light. And so big light, I like to help people find that spark, like find that passion again, find that drive, that excitement.
Like activation. You know, that's kind of crazy because I know you know Izzy, and you know part of her name is Luz.
Yes.
So that means light. I didn't notice that until now. You learn something every episode.
Now Izzy and I are even more sisters. I'm going to share that. You've shared that. Yes. I'm going to share that with her.
Yep. Her name's Isabel Luz Camacho Black.
Yes.
Yep. So she has it right there in the middle of her name. That's pretty neat. But what does that mean for you?
The big light. I used to say when I was younger that I wanted my epitaph or my tombstone to read, every time she entered the room, it felt like the lights got brighter. I really, and interestingly, I lost that quote for a long time, and it didn't ring true for me. It wasn't something I was interested in exemplifying in my life. And it's exciting to now be back to that. It only took turning 40 to come back to that awareness.
Yeah, I was definitely in a dark part in my life at one time too. And I was always that same person. You walk in the room and everyone lit up because here goes Chuck. And now I got that flame back. So, but you get it with people. The right people around you will always deliver the energy that makes you light up even more. If you could have coffee with any historical figure, who would you choose?
Oh, I feel like my answer might be similar to other people's answers, but I really admire and adore Oprah. I like how she asks questions that dive you underneath the surface of life. Like we're not talking about weather. We're not talking about house. We're not talking about, kids, husband. We're talking about what lights you up. Why are you here? How did you come to that idea? What was your darkest day? All of that.
So what?
I would talk to her.
If I was Oprah, what would be the conversation?
How did you get through your dark times?
Yeah.
How did you get here? How did you keep moving even when it felt like everything was against you?
She did go through some stuff too. What's your biggest failure, and what did you learn from that?
So interesting to share the biggest failure. So when I talked about that night of, just crashing real hard, my come to Jesus moment, if you will, what led up to that was 8 years of being at a corporate job. And every 2 or 3 years, I would get this very strong awareness that I needed to exit, that it was time, that my time there was complete. But I kept shutting down that intuition. So I really feel like my biggest failure was not listening to my inner guidance, like ignoring my inner compass and just saying like, no, it's fine. I'll stay for the health insurance. I'll stay because it's a Forbes top 20 company. I'll stay because people are dying to work here, and therefore I just must stay. So that's my biggest failure, is not trusting myself.
So how have you changed that?
Yes. Wow. Risk-taking. The cave you most fear holds the treasure you seek. So now I'm here on the other side of that, taking the big risk, like, working for yourself. As you all know, you're an entrepreneur in multiple veins, and the entrepreneurial journey is no joke.
It's not.
No joke.
Scary.
Yeah.
Like you said, that cave is dark. Yeah. But like you also said, when you believe you're the light, you'll light that darkness up like it ain't nothing. You just gotta get over the fear. So I'm glad you got up off that floor, because there's people that they choose to stay. They choose to soak that stuff up, and it's like, you have a choice, and it is your responsibility to make the right choice. Because if you don't make the right choice, guess what? You're going to continue to get worse and worse and worse, and you're just going to swaddle up into a little ball and die. And that's not what life's about. Life's about getting up off the floor after you take that hit and continuing on. So I'm glad that you decided to do that, because now you're helping change other people. You're showing other people how this transformation is possible, and you're getting them into that rhythm of how they can do the same. So, and we're about to talk about that. What do people misunderstand most about your work?
I think a lot of people believe that life coaches and energy healers, light workers, healers of any kind, that they fix people. And that, when I say it out loud, it's like, oh, of course, maybe they do fix people. Nobody needs fixing. It's about asking deeper questions. It's about holding space for people as they unpack their own stuff. What is your vision? Why have you not been showing up for yourself in your vision? What is the block? Let's release it together. Let me take you through some work that allows you to unpack it and let it go finally. And then I stand with you and other people in my industry. We will stand with you as you align your actions in your life with this vision that you spoke about in the beginning. And then we got rid of all the stuff, but now you're back on track, and you're walking the talk. So I stand for people to walk their talk. And I think the confusion is that if I get a coach, I must be broken. Right. And that's just completely not true.
Yeah, it's not. It's more brains speaking to you. So, but what would be one of the most common myths about your profession? People always have those guys or those people, they're this way. And what would be your profession's biggest?
Wow. What's coming forward to share with you right now is that, that coaches are not, they're not well studied, or it's just fluff. And I studied, I practiced for 3 years to make sure that what I'm delivering and how I'm moving you through your inner journey, that it's legit, that it's good. And it's a good coach will support you where you're at and also constantly be adjusting to where you're at and supporting you and getting to the next level that you've declared. It's not what I want for you. Right. It's what you've declared that you want for you, and that I'm with you in your corner, supporting you in getting rid of whatever's in the way and then moving with you through those action steps.
You just help bring them to the surface.
Exactly.
And once they get to the surface, you can swim to shore now. But we got you. I got you to that spot. A lot of people don't also understand this. The best coaches in the world, the coaches that become favorites, are the coaches who have experienced a lot of the traumas that they're teaching about. And with you having those episodes, with you having that epiphany in life and meeting that downtime, that, oh my God, what's going on with me? I can't go any further than this, so I'm stopping right here. With you having that experience, you understand. It's not just like some child protection person coming in trying to tell you how to be a parent when they don't have any children. You've been there. You know what it feels like. And those make the best coaches. And those make people's opinions of them turn from just an average coach to favorite. And you are a lot of people's favorite. So I see you all the time on all your social medias. Was this something that you've always been passionate about, helping people? Or is this something that just came about when you went through your...
Yeah, I have always loved corralling people. I did one of it was a Strengths Finder test, and it was winning others over. So woo, building relationships, communication, strategizing, and pointing people towards their future. So interestingly, my skill set or my natural, I guess, God-given gifts are exactly what I would want in a coach. Mm-hmm. And yet in the past, I used it more for I loved event planning, wedding planning specifically. I really love just being around people. Yeah. I love interacting with people and supporting them and hearing their journey. I don't know. I think being a really great listener is one of my superpowers, for sure.
What is the most important personality trait someone would need to work in your industry and be successful?
Tenacity. Not only the tenacity to stick with your business vision, but the tenacity to stick with a student or client who is struggling or who is in the midst of their own inner turmoil and struggling on their journey. So I really think tenacity, and I could go on. I can listen more, but I'll just say tenacity.
How would one start on this path, though? How can someone get going?
It depends on which one. The energy healing and also life coaching. There are many schools. There are many schools that you can dive into. But I really think it's first and foremost just checking in with yourself. Are you clear that this is a passion that you want to dive into for a while? Because I don't think anyone finds out if they love a career or not until you're in it for a few years.
Yeah.
I really think it takes time. I know a lot of people who finished a 4-year degree studying something and then getting out into the workforce and then not enjoying it, not being aligned. So yeah, I think you get to give yourself time and then just keep checking in with that inner guidance system. Is this still fun? Do I like to go to work? Maybe I could try working at a different place to see if there's better alignment, but I'd say check in with your passion, give yourself some time, and then find a place to study.
Study. That's one of the most important things with anything you want to do is you got to definitely learn as much about the passion and doing what you're doing, or you lose it fast. So I guess that would be something that at least root you into that. But does your life experience play a role in this new chosen field that you're in?
Well, I agree with you, Chuck, on what you said earlier about it sounds like it helps you be more comfortable working with a coach if you know that they've kind of been down in the dirt a bit. And I've talked a lot lately about how, sometimes when you're moving through traffic and you keep hitting red light after red light after red light, and you're thinking, what is with all of these red lights? I think that's a similar analogy to life itself. If life was just green lights, if your driving experience of wanting all green lights your whole life, if that was the same as your living, breathing life every day outside of the car analogy, I don't think that you would grow. I don't think that you would learn. I don't think that you would clarify who you are. I don't think that there would be enough resistance happening in your life for you to hone your skills, hone your calling, that purpose, that passion, that power. I think that life has to have red lights, has to have potholes, has to have some loose gravel. We got to spin out a couple times. And I think that having had some of that under my experience, under my wings, it has made me a much better coach.
Yeah.
That darkness has helped me see the light. It's like the light is shinier because the darkness was so deep.
Yeah. And it's rooted in your heart. You could tell from the way you speak. I happen to be classmates with Kansas City's favorite life coach, and I've gotten a lot of opportunities to hear you speak. And some of those speeches were pro bono, not pro bono. Some of them were straight from the dome, right in person, and some of them were actually planned. The planned ones that I've heard were okay. They were pretty good. But the ones that you say straight from the dome, man, they hit home. And the crazy thing about being in the class online is you get to see everyone in front of you, all the tiles, everyone's faces, everyone's expressions, everyone, how they register what you're saying. And it's just crazy to see the expressions on people's faces when they hear some of the stuff that you say when you're speaking. And that's why you're winning all the time.
If anyone's wondering, Chuck is talking about this amazing speech class that we're in. I mean, that's the rudimentary way to explain it, but train yourself to be an onstage speaker. And I wasn't prepared for this, but I guess they have had us kind of compete in certain ways. And I'm honored that Chuck is like, Andrea keeps winning.
Yes. But like I said, it goes back to your experiences. You have to go through things to be greater. People that don't go through anything, how can they where's the drive to be great? So I always tell people, those cuts and those wounds, those are what make a diamond beautiful. Those are what make the diamond shine. Diamonds go through pressure. They go through the darkness. They go through all these different stages, but at the end of it, what you have is this beautiful, beautiful rock. That could be just a plain rock in any other place, but it's been nicked enough times. It's been cut enough times, and the perfect nicks and the perfect cuts used the right way brings this beauty out. So don't want to get too deep with it, but you've been through places like a lot of us in the class. We've all been through these places, and that's what makes some of the beauty come out of us so easy when we're put on the spot. And that was the word I was looking for earlier, the spot. Those are some of our best speeches, I think. And I'm glad that they're teaching us how to actually go on the spot, because it's definitely making me a better speaker. It's definitely making me more comfortable with being put on the spot, because the more you put on the spot, the better you get. But what's the biggest challenge you're facing in your business right now, and how are you tackling it?
I would say that growing team is the biggest challenge for me right now, because I want to share this work with as many people as possible. I would like to support as many individuals reclaiming their light, their truth, their inner compass. I want to help everyone get to that place where they feel awake, free, and expansive. The challenge is, who are the right people to bring on to my team to support me in creating that vision and to have it reverberate out into the world? So, whether that's web development or some support with copywriting or email systems or social media. I mean, you obviously know. So team building, I'd say. And then the way I'm moving through that, since you asked, is adding people slowly and then honing my management skills of making sure that I'm creating standard operating procedures for those in the business, SOPs. You got to have your SOPs, and making sure that it's clear that I'm communicating clearly with the people I have brought on board, and that I also get to hold them accountable enough where then I can let the reins loosen. But as you know, you get to run a tighter ship as the relationship is new, and then you get to say, okay, we've got this. The SOP is down. Now run. Let's go. Let's be free.
Yeah, take a little off my shoulder. Take a little off my shoulder. How do you handle it mentally when you're faced with those challenges, though?
Lots of practices, deep breaths,
mindfulness.
Checking in with my inner guidance system, going for a walk. I recently shared with some individuals, I'd love to share it with you. I have this creativity process that is incubate, create, share, celebrate. So incubate, you're like, do I have an idea? I think I have an idea. Create is like building it out, getting it all set up. It's ready. Sharing it means putting it out in the world. You actually share it. You actually push it out into the world, whether it's a book, a podcast, a system like I'm sharing with you. But the step I feel most people are missing, I think the last two we really struggle with, sharing it in the world, but celebrating. Yeah. So I even have like a little dance that I do when I have moved, when I've taken a step towards my vision. I'm being vision in action. I even have a little celebration dance that I do to help my inner guidance system reprogram itself instead of looking for evidence of sucking, instead of looking for evidence of failure. I'm reprogramming my DNA. I'm reprogramming my mindfulness to see the up-leveling. Up-leveling is happening every day. This conversation is an up-leveling for you and I and anyone watching. And is there any moment of rejoicing? Are you giving yourself moments, minuscule as they are, to rejoice? And therefore you're creating a whole new system inside yourself. So yes, that's one way that I support myself, is I have a little, it's kind of like a touchdown dance. Like everyone should have their own touchdown dance. And I'm going to quote Michael Strassner on that. Thank you, Michael Strassner.
What's the name of your company?
Awakening Freedom Within.
Awakening Freedom Within. Mm-hmm. Take 5 minutes to explain to the audience what that company is and what that company does for everyone who needs that.
Wow. So Awakening Freedom Within is life coaching and energy healing. And the ideal client, the person magnetized to that work, is someone who is struggling, someone who is kind of feeling like that pilot light, like that inner flame is getting dim, or you're noticing that you keep showing up in the same places and you're just not feeling that lust for life any longer. So I don't really work with people that are in the they're not yet even surviving. I'm working with people that are shifting from surviving to thriving. So you're not since I'm not a therapist, I'm not a social worker, I am a life coach. So when, you have your systems in place, your life is moving, but you're knowing that there's something more. Like there's something more. I can't quite put my finger on it. I'm not feeling
guide.
I'm not feeling the juice. I've supported people moving through their business, staying on task, being in action in their business. I've helped individuals find relationships or heal their relationship, whether with their child or their spouse or their girl or boyfriend, individuals that are on a quest to find partnership. I want to find partnership. It's not quite landing. So really you bring in a life coach, you bring in an energy healer when you're wanting that accountability, when you're wanting some support and guidance. And those are really the three ingredients. You're wanting to come back to a place of self-love, self-trust, and self-choice. and you want to work with someone to help you build that again. Because it's always been there. I never tell people that they're finding it. It's like you're re-finding it because you had it when you were itty bitty, and it might have just gotten burned out of you a bit.
So that's what the world does.
Right.
It stacks so many different opinions. And I think we lose a lot when we stop going, because children go by their beliefs, their opinions, but then they're hammered with their parents telling them, no, believe this, do this, this is what you should do. And you get to a point where the belief is gone. You know, you don't have belief in yourself because you're so busy, so used to everyone else hammering you with it that you, once you get it back and you get it and you know it, now you need someone to help guide you. You guys got to watch these videos that she puts out. I'm saying, man, it's something, you know, you're scrolling and you, oh, there she goes. Let me hear what she's talking about. Oh, next thing you know, 15 minutes later, I'm still listening. So what short-term goals and aspirations do you have for your company moving forward?
I would love to serve, I have this ideal number of 20 women in groups. And then I do have men clients that work with me privately, but I love hosting women's groups. I really feel as though witnessing each other have, like when I watch you have a light bulb moment, it opens up something for me. There's a healing that happens for me when I watch you have a breakthrough. So I'd love to serve a minimum of 20 women per year in my Awakening Freedom Circle. That is something that is already in the flow, it's happening, and I get to maintain that level and make sure that I'm making myself available and I'm magnetizing in those sisters to be in that circle so that each woman there can have that level of support from one another. So that's the main piece of it, is that I want that circle to be really strong. A challenge for me is I think I got a little insular during COVID and I wasn't getting out to networking events and I wasn't shouting my passions from the rooftop. I kind of got a little used to kids are home from school. I'm homeschooling. What is this life that I'm living? Why am I not diving into my passion and my business the way I want to? So, you know, I'll be going to a lot of networking events with Chuck in Kansas City and other people. So yeah, I get to also just make sure that I'm staying out in the physical world, sharing my passion, teaching workshops, really just making the work available to people.
And that's what my next question was, do you have any workshops in the play and plan coming up?
Yes, I have a couple that are happening in the physical world. There are a few healing centers, wellness centers, yoga studios in Kansas City that are wanting to host my workshops. And then I love to offer one session each month that is in the virtual world, so an online space, because I do have a large following in the UK and in New Zealand and Australia, which is really exciting and also interesting when it comes to time differences. So I like to make sure that my workshops are that I want to do it. I get to keep doing the one each month that is virtual.
And you post those on your social medias when you have them?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to get to that one. Okay, where do you hope to be in the next 10 years?
Wow. See, now I thought I had pondered all of this in advance. In the next 10 years, I would love to be hosting more women in my circles. I know that they can be really big, and I get to tap into that vision more. How big do I want them to get? Because I'm very good at breaking people into small pods so that they can still amplify at that private, intimate level. Even if there were 100 women in the 6-month container, there would be smaller groups of like 6 to 10 or 6 to 12 that would still have that deep, intimate sisterhood experience as they go on that awakening journey.
It kind of reminds me of, Sky Knowles and Haley Finch.
Yes.
They have their little kind of like workshops. I think it's writers' workshops that they have. They kind of like break people up. It seems like it's easier to control and it's not overwhelming for the people who are there. So that's a good idea. I got to figure out when is one of your next workshops. I don't know how many men you have in them, but hey, I be the oddball. I'm always the oddball anywhere I go.
You're
anyway.
welcome. You're welcome in. You're welcome in.
So in 5 minutes, create your perfect world.
Are we talking planetary?
We are talking your world. Like when I say world, I mean when you die, your world ends. If you was to recreate this world, what would it consist of?
Oh my.
How would your new world be?
Ooh, wow. Okay. So, outside of, us all riding flying unicorns and, and, living in trees, outside of that, as a possibility of reality, I would definitely see a world where education is more on the forefront of our world, and it's not in desks, and it's not regurgitating books and lists of things. Just maybe more of a wildness added back into life as we know it. Maybe more communal living in smaller, more natural environments. Not everybody in their own house, not even knowing their neighbors' names. I would definitely see a political environment where money was more of a community effort, a community integrated, involved. Last man standing is as equal as the leader. I really see a way that companies could be doing that different, that our whole planet could be doing that differently. So those might be very, very broad brush strokes, but I still I would love to leave the world a place where people are awake to their dream and that they're not afraid to go out and live it. I think the way we have things set up right now makes it so that entrepreneurs are much less likely to succeed, and people's creativity and their dreams tend to get stomped because of the way our financial and our political and our capital systems are set up.
That monetary system just got everything screwed up, doesn't it?
It's really it's like constantly like crushing. It's like this battering ram is like pushing down on the main parts of our world. So I'd love to see the opposite of that. And to create that, I would pull together the best minds and the best hearts together so that we could create systems like that.
I like your world. Sounds pretty cool.
And then some
Unicorns
and unicorns and tree houses.
Bunch of bright colors and
rainbows everywhere.
So I know you're full of positive words, and I know the show is coming to an end. So I always end the show with something that gives someone something to take from the episode. Dig into that brain of yours, look into that camera right there, and leave the audience and the listeners something to go off of.
My name is Andrea Luzon, Legacy Liberator. Now,
you are also...
And I'm also Kansas City's favorite life coach.
Woo woo.
And the words I would love to leave you with are that now, any day, any moment, you can liberate your legacy. And not the legacy that is, buildings and all this wealth. Yes, that can be part of it. But what I mean is that your love legacy is the imprint that you make on hearts and minds through your presence, your words, and your deeds. And the imprint starts with you. And then it reverberates and goes out into every other heart and mind. So you can liberate that love legacy at any moment that you choose.
What's those social medias?
Oh, yes.
Because if they're looking for Kansas City's favorite, they gotta have an address somewhere. Yes. And I know you have tons of places where they can find you. So let it rip.
I'm in a lot of places. I'd love to have you stop by my website, which is AndreaLuzon.com. Andrea, LUZON.com. Also, you can find me on Instagram at Awakening Freedom Within. I think I have underscores. It's Awakening_freedom_within. So those are the main ones, but Facebook is the same, Andrea Luzon. TikTok, Andrea Luzon. Those are all of the main places. YouTube. Oh yes. Since we're posting this on YouTube, I'd love to see you all check out Andrea Luzon as a YouTube channel. And I'd love to have you pop in there. Some great meditations, some great workshops that can be anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour and a half, depending on what kind of time you have. So I'd love to see you all there.
That's what's up.
That's what's up.
That's what's up. So, before I close out, you have something to celebrate because you finished the episode. It was a great episode. And how did you say you celebrate?
Oh my gosh, my celebration dance. So, celebration dance. Everyone gets to have their own. And again, the credit goes to Michael Strausner and whoever he found it from. But when you're doing something great and you're proud of yourself, so come up with a dance that's fun for you, like a touchdown dance. So here's mine. Okay. Winning, winning, winning. Woo! Woo! Winning, winning, winning. Woo! Woo!
That's what I'm talking about. Oh, shit. That is crazy. That is awesome. That is awesome.
Right?
Thank you guys for joining me for another episode of the First Cup KC. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. And as always, stay positive, people. Winning, winning, winning.